Now, maintenance of life, we studied that in the last class. It says that all forms of living organisms need materials to grow, develop, and synthesize substances needed for life from the food we take. Human beings take a mixture of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, various kinds of mineral salts, and vitamins. All these will be converted into very simpler forms of life required for our growth, development, energy requirement, and to synthesize other tissues. As I told you, energy is essential for maintenance of life, and that will keep our body in a steady state of order to have a balanced life. Nutrition takes care of these needs. That means it gives the materials for building up of the new tissues. Nutrition gives energy from the molecules we take to maintain our life. Heterotrophic nutrition simply means animals which require food from other animals. These animals cannot prepare their own food like green plants. Each animal is adapted to its environment. The form of nutrition differs depending on the type of and availability of the food material as well as how the body is designed. There is a range of strategies by which food is taken and in use by the organism. Some organisms break down food materials outside the body. Some organisms live inside the body. So it differs from organism to organism. Others, like human beings, we take the whole material. That means starch or carbohydrates, proteins, and then lipids are taken, and that will be broken down inside the body into simpler and absorbable 5 stages of nutrition. In human beings, we have 5 stages. One is the ingestion, taking food materials into the system, into a specialized system called digestive system, and inside the digestive system a process called digestion takes place, and then the digested food will be absorbed from the intestine to different parts, and that will travel into various tissues and cells through transport system where assimilation takes place. That means that molecule will be used for building up of our material tissues and for the energy, that's called assimilation. And from the intestine, from the digestive system, not useful material will be thrown out in the form of stools by a process called digestion. These 5 are important stages of nutrition in human beings. Unicellular organisms like amoeba may carry all these stages in a single cell. Multicellular organisms have complex system specially meant for digestion, and that's called a digestive system. Here I have shown you a diagram of human digestive system which you have to practice and remember. A digestive system consists of 2 major parts. We can say one is the alimentary canal and second associated glands. Alimentary canals start from the mouth. This is the part of the mouth. In the mouth, we have tongue, and also we have the teeth. From the mouth, a small tube of about 1 foot comes, and that's called esophagus. Look at the spelling of esophagus. O-E-S-O-P-H-A-G, esophagus. Esophagus ends in a bag-like structure called the stomach, and the stomach have a small U-bend-like structure, and that will be called the duodenum. From the duodenum comes a long tube, this yellow tube what I am now tracing, and that is called the small intestine. That will be around 5 to 6 feet long in human beings. It may differ in size in different human beings, and that will now end up in the form of a large intestine that actually encloses all the small intestine and ends up in the form of a rectum, and then all the end part is called the anus. So we have two openings. One is the mouth and the other is the anus. Mouth is for ingestion of the food. Anus is for ingestion of the food molecules. Now, associated glands which help in digestion include a large liver. Liver is one important part. We will know the function later on. It might contain gallbladder, and there is one more thing called the pancreas. That is between the stomach and the duodenum. So these three are very important things. In addition to that, we have inside the mouth glands called salivary glands, and these are very important one, and you should be able to know how to draw a diagram. I will try to help you out. Now write the diagram of a man like this, a face like this, and then just make a small thing like mouth like that. So this may look like a man, you see, and then from the mouth you start a small tube. You draw like this, and the mouth comes, that is the mouth cavity. From the mouth you write a part that comes down here, gullet, and this portion what we write is called the esophagus, and then the esophagus ends like this. I am writing it in the form of a small sac-like structure, and that will be stomach, and then it ends up in the form of a U-tube, and that U-tube you call it duodenum, and this duodenum now becomes a large tube like that. It may end like that going, and I am showing you how to write a tube. You write a tube, does not matter any shape it contains, but it should be long structure, and then it ends up in different forms. It becomes a long tube, and then from there it becomes another small another tube-like structure that comes out all the way, and that tube, what you call here, you are writing, will be known as the large intestine, and that ends up in the anus. So now I will try to show you again. Now here is the mouth. I'll make it short form for out, mouth, and that is the buccal cavity, and that is the esophagus. I will write only short form esophagus. Now this one is that's the esophagus, and esophagus ends up in the stomach. That is a U-tube like structure called the duodenum. Small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. That is the anus. Now, along with that, you have right here, you got a structure called liver, and then you also have a structure here called the pancreas. This will be salivary glands. So now you must remember at least mouth, buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, duodenum, small intestine, large intestine, then rectum, anus, along with liver, gallbladder, and then the pancreas. These are the important structures in this, how different parts of the alimentary canal works. Now mouth, inside the mouth, food enters, that's called the digestion. When the food enters, it will be a mixture of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, or lipids, they are called, minerals and salt. Then food will be completely masticated or ground or made into smaller pieces by the help of teeth and moisture, that is the water present in the mouth, and then well masticated or well broken food enters into esophagus. Esophagus moves the food into stomach. This is the stomach. Stomach is a bag-like structure. Here the food may stay for about 3 to 4 hours, and stomach contains a large number of chemical materials, including an acid called hydrochloric acid and then some enzymes. You know, when sometimes people suffer from what's called acidity, we shall find out how it happens or what happens. We also should know what is the function of acid in the stomach, why acid is present in the stomach. Then it ends up into a small U-tube structure called duodenum. Duodenum is very important because it pushes half digested food in the form of chyme, it's called, like those, it's almost like a dove, dosa hit in the and then it comes down to this yellow part called the small intestine. It's a very large one, and inside the small intestine many enzymes are present. These enzymes complete the process of digestion, that means breaking them into simpler and absorbable molecules. Here water is also slightly absorbed, but all the molecules are absorbed by small finger-like structures called villi. That is an important thing you should remember. Villi absorb all the digested materials. From there, almost semi-solid like structure, that is food, which is not digested, enters into large intestine. It passes through the large intestine, and where some water is also absorbed, and then the waste food material that is not digested and the fibers will get into the last part called the rectum, and from the rectum it is pushed outside by means of anus. All these activities in the alimentary canal takes place with the help of movement of the muscles. That movement is called peristalsis, that is controlled by the nervous system. Associated glands are shown here. This is the liver. Liver produces a particular chemical called insulin that is very important for the breaking down of sugars. If insulin is not produced, people suffer from a disease called diabetes, and that is very dangerous. Liver produces 3 to 4 type of enzymes, that will help in digestion. Then comes the pancreas. Pancreas is a very small, a little organ, and that produces pancreatic enzymes that also helps in breaking down of food materials, and it acts upon different food materials. Then comes the gallbladder. This gallbladder also produces a large number of chemicals that helps in various activities. Now kidneys help in extracting water and unwanted minerals. So they are all called associated parts. Here is a diagram showing you major digestive enzymes, which you must remember. Enzyme is a chemical material that acts upon the food material. Carbohydrates are digested by salivary amylase, pancreatic amylase, and maltase. These three convert carbohydrates into glucose. Protein is digested with the help of pepsin, trypsin, and peptidase. Protein molecules are converted into amino acids. Salivary glands, pancreas, and small intestine help in producing enzymes required for carbohydrate digestion. Now, gastric glands, pancreas, and small intestine help in digestion of protein. Similarly, pancreas may help in digesting other substances like nucleic acid and fat. Fat is converted into fatty acids and by means of lipase. Glycerols and fatty acids are two end products of fat digestion. Now, most of the digestion takes place in the mouth and some in the stomach. The rest of the digestion completes in small intestine. Small intestine and stomach have different pH levels, or that is the chemical nature. Mouth is neutral, it contains lot of water. Stomach is acidic in nature. It has got an acid called hydrochloric acid that is helpful in preserving the food without being decayed, and if the acid is not present, then there will be a putrefaction of food materials. But sometimes if extra acid is produced, it becomes acidic. And small intestine will be basic in nature. In your chemistry, you have studied that acid, bases, and neutral. So you should try to use that information in interpreting the chemical nature of the alimentary canal. Now in this chapter, some questions will appear. You should prepare. One is, write the diagram of alimentary canal and label the parts. I just showed you a simple way of writing. You must practice that. What is the role of acid in the stomach? You should read your textbook to answer that. How enzymes help in nutrition? The answer would be, enzymes break down the complex food materials into simpler and absorbable forms. You must try to remember the names of the enzymes, especially produced in different parts of the digestive system of the human body. How is small intestine designed to absorb digested food? Small intestine contains a large number of very small finger-like structure called villi, and these villi are very, very small in nature. They absorb the digested absorbable molecules of food and send the absorbed food into bloodstream for distribution into various parts. Name associated parts of digestive system. You should at least remember three parts: pancreas, gallbladder, liver, and kidneys. What function of liver in our digestive system? What is the function of liver in our digestive system? Now, liver produces insulin and liver also stores glucose in the form of glycogen for a later use. What is dental caries? If you don't take care of your teeth in your mouth, food will deposit there, microbes will grow, and then the enamel white material of the teeth will be destroyed, and that's called caries. Sometimes you get pain out of it, and pus will be formed sometimes in the gum. You can study that at a later stage. I am thankful to the authors of Common Creative, from where I have taken one or two diagrams. I am also thankful to authors of Diksha. Some content is taken. Students who write examination, please read the textbook carefully and try to remember the parts and try to practice the diagram of alimentary canal and try to label the parts. Thank you.